Get out the insurance cards, get out the copays. The office is open, my friends. Brought to you by drroto.com.
Hey everyone, happy Monday night. Welcome to the Look Back podcast with Sam and Madi, brought to you by drroto.com. Get your daily prescription of fantasy sports. Madi, what a crazy Monday night football that was. I'm kind of laughing because literally right before I left work, my coworker was like, "Do I bet the over?" And I was like, I kind of would, because they're averaging 49 points as a total for both teams. And then, of course, they go over the over because the over was 51 and he should have bet. It's like, dude, you
he
just listen to
didn't?
me. He
Didn't
didn't make
follow
the
your
bet.
advice? Always listen to Sam.
Just listen to what I'm telling you. I'm trying to help you win money. I said, take the over. It's going to be a tough one. Grinding it out.
If he would have won, he would have had to split that with you.
I think so. At least buy me
only
lunch
fair.
or something. Like something crazy. No, but I mean, it was a crazy matchup. How much of the game were you able to catch? I'm sure that you were able to watch the, nail biter that was the ending, where all of a sudden it looked like the Cardinals were going to pull it right back, and then they just could not get the ball moving. Like, what was with all those stupid penalties? It didn't make any sense to me.
And when you see them set themselves up for that specific moment just to go in, take it back, win the game, and they don't, it's just, you're heartbroken. You're heartbroken. I don't know what happened there. We talked about this. They were making rookie mistakes.
Yes, and they know better than this. I feel like the Cardinals have had such a successful season this year for, having this kind of like veteran wisdom when it comes to just finishing out the ball game. And they did not do that in these last 2 minutes. And it was like way to fall apart right at the last second.
That's exactly what I was going to say too, is they've been winning because they are able to keep their composure. Mm-hmm. So this was just earth-shattering for us, just because we're not used to seeing that from them.
No, we were texting right before the show as well. Like, we both were saying that the Cardinals are going to come back, and it looked like they could, but then it was just the dumbest penalties back and forth, and they just couldn't dial it in. I mean, the only thing that was dumber than that ending was Chase Claypool trying to celebrate when the clock was ticking on Thursday night, and I saw all the mentions.
You said it, like, I didn't.
I know. Hey, I know. It was dumb. It was dumb. I wouldn't have done it. I hope that he gets in trouble. Like, I hope that Tomlin would actually just like find players for that. Like, yes, benching does one thing or whatever, but when you're this close in the division and like you have the opportunity to come back when other teams are losing, just find the player and just get back on the field. Let's just get it over with.
I think something needs to happen. I think that there's definitely a lack of disciplinary action.
Yeah, so much. I mean, not just in Pittsburgh, but I feel like we're seeing it across the league. I mean, what did the Raiders think why did they think that was a good idea? Like, I'm sorry, how much flack did Juju get last year for dancing on other teams' logos for TikTok? I thought we all saw that and we're like, okay, this is a part of the things we don't do. And
do you think the Raiders know that they're the Raiders also?
Do they know who they are? Do they know who we think they are? Probably not. They're probably not fully aware. I feel like they have so much other problems that are going on with their organization too. So much to overcome. What a crazy season off the field things that have happened to them. And then to go out and do something so stupid as a team, go dance on the opposition's logo is just like, there's just a lot of dumb things that have been happening. I mean, Urban Meyer has also just been, just a joke of what a head coach should be. Just like
from the time he got there. Tim Tebow, like that's your pick. That's who you want to waste your offseason.
You lose Travis Etienne, and then instead of going back to your number one running back that was the number one last year, you just say, we're good. Can you pass out waters? Like, what? What? Like,
did you ever work?
This?
Did you ever work just like a really crummy job? Like, were you ever like a server or bartender or anything like that?
I've had a couple crappy jobs, but I haven't had any of the server jobs. No.
Okay. So I was a server at Buffalo Wild Wings through college.
Nice.
Yeah. And we always got those people who they would come work for a little bit and then when they were ready to sit back and collect unemployment, they just did the craziest, just most absurd things so that they could get fired so that they could then claim unemployment. And like, this is how I feel about Urban Meyer. I
Yeah.
just feel like he's out there trying to get fired.
So we can
Maybe
collect
not for the
unemployment.
unemployment, but
Maybe.
just so he
If they
can just
match what his salary is, what his contract is, I wouldn't blame him for doing that. But
I think
no,
if he's terrible enough, they'll just pay him to go away.
yeah, I feel like his character that he has put forth for this season is equal to like I think it's the Seahawks GM in Draft Day, the movie. They kind of like try and paint this like really weird cringy villain and that owner that they're going back and forth with. I feel like it's like that level of like, did you intend to write this bad? Because it's just bad.
Yeah, it's like kamikaze pilot business
I know.
going on over there. Really
Absolutely
sad.
horrendous.
Makes me sad.
Makes me sad too. Makes me disappointed, but also let's go from this sadness. Let's talk about the other highs of the week. I mean, let's first start off with James Conner, who we were talking before we got here live that it's surprising and not surprising that he's sitting at number 2 in running backs at the position for rushing touchdowns for the season. He is right behind Jonathan Taylor, or sorry, Dalvin Cook. Wait, no, I messed it up already. I messed up.
Jonathan Taylor, right?
Yeah, Jonathan Taylor. Monday.
Yeah. Which is tip it back. Which is insane. But
Yes.
James Conner, I'm so excited. We've talked about him before.
Yeah, we both love him.
Yes, and watching him thrive is so exciting. The touchdown that he scored where Aaron almost got a little piece of him and he ran into the line and he just like bounced himself off and found his way in the end zone. Stuff like that, that's what makes you excited about a player, especially as a fantasy owner, just because he's going to give every little bit he has to do what he can to win.
He's that kind of crazy physical player as well. And I think that everyone discounted him this off season, probably because of the accumulation of different injuries he had with the Steelers. And then he was coming off, I think the toe injury was the most recent one that he had that he was battling back from. And then probably the hype trains were just so high for the incoming rookies that's also why he kind of went by the wayside. But when I saw him go to the Cardinals, I was like, this is a good move because Chase Edmonds isn't someone that I see as being this crazy, brilliant standout running back. I mean, he's fine. He definitely gets the job done. He's very efficient, but he's not that next level elite. And I was thinking that this made so much sense for him, for James Conner to have a resurgence. So I was excited for this move. And really, week in and week out, he's proving his worth every time. I mean, 9 for 9 on receptions and targets out of your running back. You cannot be upset with that.
Absolutely. And he's not just shooting a gap running back. He can kind of bounce around and make decisions on the fly, which is really important with the Cardinals offense, especially with that offensive line, the way that they shift and chip. He has to be able to make decisions in the moment, and he does that well.
I mean, being able to also get the touchdown in the Wildcat, he's just so versatile. It's just fun to see him be so physical, like when you're just a fan of the player, of the way that he plays the game as well. So that was super fun to see tonight too.
Absolutely. I'm a fan of the Cardinals. I'm kind of bummed they lost tonight.
Honestly, I am too. I still feel like I'm high on them to go for a very deep run into the playoffs, but they're going to have to look at this tape and really use it as a lesson to fix a lot of these problems because they cannot be making these rookie mistakes going into the playoffs. They're not going to last, and they're better than that. They're better than that.
I will say the Rams defense came to play tonight, though.
They did.
They were stacked up. They were stacked up, and they were on Kyler Murray all night long. And what's crazy is I like to watch the game from the trenches standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
To be able to pass protect the way that line had to pass protect for as long as they did, I feel like they did a decent job. And I know people are going to rag on them. That's why I want to take this time to say I feel like they did a decent job. It's just that defense won. They won in the trenches. They killed it. And
they absolutely did. Didn't Aaron Donald have 3 sacks?
Was it 3 sacks? I didn't get the final count.
Thank you
but
guys
the way
for
they were yes.
What up, Corey? Thanks
What's up, Corey?
Love it when you guys tune in. I think Aaron Donald had 3 sacks on the night. And I agree with you. The defense definitely came into play. And when you look at how Arizona's receivers stack up for points, you see what they did very well, and that was shut down DeAndre Hopkins, who was third in terms of fantasy points compared to the other receivers behind Christian Kirk, and AJ Green was their best one this week for fantasy, at least, which is crazy. I mean, DeAndre only had 5 catches on 12 targets. AJ Green had 7 of 10 and 102 yards. Christian Kirk had 3 of 6 with 86 yards, so we just edged him out with the yards. But that's kind of insane to see.
That's absolutely insane.
They really were efficient at trying to shut down Hopkins, and that was the main thing that they did. And that result is clear in the fact that so many other receivers had to step up and make catches, make plays. I know Ertz had a couple as well. Yeah, he had himself a good game, 5 of 7 for 42 yards. I mean,
Stafford was actually pretty impressive too. He made a lot of on-point throws.
He did, and I think he finished just outside the top 5 for quarterbacks this week. Somehow, Ben Roethlisberger beat him out for the top 5. Isn't that crazy?
That is wild. That's a stat of the week.
That's crazy stat of the week. That Ben is number 5 and Stafford is number 6. Like, what? Some things make no sense, but that's okay. No, I mean, Stafford had himself a fantastic game, though. I mean, 287 yards for 3 touchdowns. He made some crazy long catches, too. Are you laughing at my shenanigans right now?
I am, just because I think that you're the only Steelers fan I can get along with and that actually is honest about their team. I love it. I love it.
I mean,
sorry.
What kind of smoke and mirrors can I create? Like, obviously, things aren't going perfect, but man, darn it all if they don't try their hardest.
My favorite is just like all the Steelers fans are just like, but Najee Harris, and I'm like, yeah, we're talking about your offensive line, or we're talking about your quarterback, or we're talking about your off the field drama. But no, Najee Harris is their answer for everything.
And I see Jonathan Danger throwing this in the comments just to get me upset. Steelers may win 4 games next year. Oof. Like, wow. Thank you. Thank you for that. We've got a lot of issues to address. But let's finish talking about the Rams before we go and start ragging on my Steelers. We've got plenty of content to get to there. Let's finish up the Monday night game. Let's get to that. Thanks, Corey, for tuning in. He says, fun fact that Christian Kirk just bought his first house in Arizona. Hopefully he's there to stay for a long time. Very fun.
But you know, that's impressive, Corey.
That is very impressive. Obviously, Cooper Kupp had himself another amazing game. 31
which we
points.
Expected.
Which you do. Over 100 receiving yards, 13 of 15 and a touchdown. Hit 123 yards. Just amazing. I mean, when you're doing your wide receiver rankings next year, I feel like, especially seeing the week that Tyreek Hill just had and that he hasn't had his typical season. I mean, outside of Devontae Adams, if Aaron Rodgers stays in Green Bay, it's going to be hard to not put Cooper Kupp in the top 3 tier for me.
Oh, absolutely.
It's just money in the bank every single time.
He's so consistent too.
He's incredibly consistent. Odell finally is having himself the games that he had hoping to get. He had 6 for 7, 77 yards and a touchdown as well. So you love seeing him get that usage. They have Seattle next week. So hopefully this is another game they can continue this momentum and keep these receptions, these targets, just keep this volume up for fantasy owners that are going to be in playoff mode.
And that'll be a test next week to see how they perform against Seattle.
Definitely. I did like seeing Van Jefferson get his long touchdown as well. 58 yards and a touchdown. Love that. I mean, I'm excited for him. He's just a very fun. He's young. He's just a fun receiver to watch. And especially when you have him next to veterans like Odell and like Cooper Kupp, and just how he's also getting the action, getting a slice of it too, is kind of nice. Mm-hmm.
And I do think that he's going to be able to go up next week and put up some numbers.
Yeah. Oh, I like him a lot, especially if you're still doing DFS. I think if he's a fantastic deep flyer, if you're in playoff mode and you've got a wide receiver 3 slot there, he's someone that I would be starting because I love that matchup. There's nothing really that scares me that much about Seattle right now.
Nope. Not even a little bit.
No, not even a little bit. Not even like a question.
Yeah.
Like not even really worth a pause. You're just like, yeah, they'll win. It'll be fine. But, you know, this is definitely a game that, you know, the Rams needed to win. Everyone I was talking to about this game, and they were saying, do you think the Rams can do it? I said, they need to do it. If they can't do it, then all the money that they just invested in going Super Bowl this year is out the window, because to me, Arizona was the yardstick to measure for themselves to continue forward.
Absolutely. I just hope that it can continue for them, because this has been one really good game in a while.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic game. All right, let's talk about a couple other games. I wanted to talk about the Cowboys before we went and started talking about your Ravens and my Steelers. Of course, we have to touch on that because, we have to. But Dak Prescott has been very underwhelming. Only had just over 200 passing yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. Like, this also doesn't feel like Dak's typical self.
No. And I can't figure out, is it play calling? Is it the team's not vibing? I don't know what it is, because their defense is playing really well.
Their defense is helping them win.
Their defense is the only reason they're winning.
Absolutely.
If we're being honest. One of those touchdowns was a defensive touchdown.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the deal is. The offensive line is struggling. They've been kind of shuffling back and forth. But it's not all just bad from an offensive line standpoint, because I keep trying to blame it on that. Shout out, Micah Parsons is just beautiful. Honestly, run Micah Parsons as a wide receiver. He catches the ball well.
He does. He absolutely
so does Diggs.
does.
Maybe we should just try something a little different.
Yep. Corey also saying the Cowboys are bad. Sorry, you don't have to apologize. It's not your fault. You didn't make them bad. They're disappointing themselves, and we're just all sad for them. But I mean, Dak Prescott hasn't been consistent with his receivers, and maybe it has to do with the play calling, because it also seems like CeeDee Lamb is looking like, I was where you told me to be, and like things are just not connecting.
And he's not looking. Yeah,
that just feels weird.
It has to be some type of a chemistry thing, but it's not. I can't figure it out, and it stinks whenever we're not getting that dynamic duo in the backfield.
Yeah,
that causes issues, because that's kind of like their deterrent. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
They like to run, shoot. So
if they're not on, then every single receiver is going to be underwhelming. I mean, Amari Cooper had himself a decent day. CeeDee Lamb was fine, but that's not what you're looking for if you're trying to make the playoffs or you're currently in your first round of playoffs. That was very disappointing. Ezekiel Elliott is very disappointing. I was talking about him last week. I think we were talking about him on this show, and I was talking about him with Tate as well, and how I didn't feel like Zeke was going to be very high this week. I had him in my stock down part of my article last week, and after I sent it, I was like, am I just calling too big of a shot to say I didn't say don't start Ezekiel Elliott, because I don't see what format you had him and that you had such running back depth that you could afford to bench him. But at the same time, I just wasn't expecting a lot from him, and it was right on the mark. I mean, he only had 12 attempts for 45 yards, and that was it. He only had a single catch and 6 targets on him. So it's just, you see these high targets, but no one's being able to complete the catch. And I know that Washington is supposed to have a pretty good defense, and on occasion they do, but it hasn't also been consistent. They're going to have to face Washington again in 2 weeks. When they have this next matchup and you're in your final round of your playoffs, like, are you just crossing your fingers and still starting Zeke? I mean, you kind of have to, but it's just... I was
going to say you have to, but the thing about it is
cool.
Washington was missing 2 of their prominent defensive players this game, and so that's a little scary for Dallas to think about. And is Zeke injured and we just don't know? Like, is he actually hurt? Because when he is getting these looks, there is a slight hesitation where he didn't have that before. He was known for just being explosive and getting down the field, and he's not doing that.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he was playing hurt, but at the same time, it just also feels like if there is something that is off, then maybe it's just me and the way I watch how they are playing, but I feel like Zeke doesn't do that next level up. Let's carry the team on my back, try and make the win. It's just kind of throws your hands up, and it's like, I'm kind of out.
Doubts about it.
Yeah. Which is kind of disappointing. I mean, I'm looking at my IDP league, and majority of the players for the Cowboys that had the best games were all defensive ends. Like, Micah Parsons had a fantastic game. Randy Gregory, Dorrance Armstrong had amazing games, and all had more points than any of the offensive players. which is just brutal.
Without Pollard there, Zeke doesn't like to be the one-man show. He doesn't.
No,
He doesn't like the workload.
I don't think he does either. I mean, so when they face each other again in 2 weeks, I mean, Pollard was out just on illness. He wasn't actually hurt.
His foot, and
His foot,
he has
yeah.
something going on with his foot, I think.
I mean, but it doesn't sound like it's going to be something that's going to keep him out for a very long time. So maybe when he comes back, that helps balance things out so that when you get Zeke in that matchup in 2 weeks, you feel a bit better about it. But if Pollard's out again, facing Washington again, same situation, I don't know. It just brings me pause. Like, you have to start him. You can't not start him. You have to start your studs. But, I mean, yeah, that's just absolutely brutal.
The other thing is they're not running him behind Zach Martin anymore, which is a problem for him. I'm going to go out on a limb and say these next couple of weeks, depending on what happens with Tyron Smith, is going to be very, very difficult for Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
That offensive line has no they're not very adaptive. And so having to shift, especially the left tackle position, I mean, we watched it happen time after time. They just crumble.
Yeah. It's
overcompensate.
It's frustrating too, because I mean, where you take Dak is in your draft, and he's someone that you should be able to rely on at this point in the stretch. Cowboys in the hunt. Cowboys kind of always play tough for the rest of the season out. They kind of still play it to win it, but it just doesn't look like they're all firing on all cylinders to do that. I mean, they've got the Giants next week, which is a much better matchup. Like, they should be able to have a big game next week. They should, by all intents and purposes.
But we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to see how that goes. All right, other players that were underwhelming. Let's talk about Nick Chubb and the Browns. I mean, I think that's his second week in a row of underwhelming performance. Yep, second week in a row. He had a bye week 13, and then against Baltimore, he might as well have posted up a 0 because he was absolutely a non-factor. He had 17 attempts this week for 59 yards. Nothing really that exciting there. He had 3 catches on 4 targets. I mean, just not what you want out of Nick Chubb.
Not even a little bit.
Nope.
No.
Not in the slightest. I mean, when you're looking at that running back core as well, I mean, Kareem Hunt.
That's what I was just looking at. Neither did Dearness.
No, absolutely no one was effective this week in the running game, which doesn't make sense because they're such a run-heavy offense. Like,
they are, but I will say the Ravens did a good job about taking that option away. I think their game plan was to put the game in Baker Mayfield's arm.
Yeah, which
is smart.
Absolutely.
He's being pieced together right now.
Definitely. So that he was able to piece together a win, but I think he wouldn't have been able to if Lamar hadn't have gotten hurt.
Not even close.
No, not a chance.
Which
is absolutely brutal. When I heard that, I was just like, no. Like, I mean, we've talked about this. I love Lamar Jackson. Steelers fandom aside, when he was going into the draft, I was excited. I watched him play at Louisville. I absolutely love him and his style of play. I think he's amazing. There's so much about him just as a person I love as well. So I hate seeing anyone get hurt. Doesn't matter, division rival, whatever. I always want to win playing against the best. I don't want to win because you're starting your second string quarterback and that's why I won. That's not the way, in my opinion, to win. So hopefully it sounds like it's just a sprain, low ankle sprain. I mean, maybe he's out a week against the Packers because that's going to be a tough matchup. And they just say, hey, you're not 100%, why bother? And then they take on Cincinnati in week 16 and try and finish it out.
I've been trying to get the inside information. I will tell you, I texted about this today and no decision has been made as of today. So honestly, I'm a Ravens fan. I hope that he sits this week and they just let him rest, get his composure back because we need to win week 16.
Absolutely. I mean, you guys need to win the rest of it out. I mean, this division is so tight as well that if for whatever miracle the Steelers were able to just win the next 3 games in a row, it would be in contention. And if other teams all had to lose, a bunch of magical things would have to happen to make the Steelers go in. It's not going to happen, but that's what I'm saying is like they still have to fight it out, and the Ravens have the best possible chance.
They do. They do. And Huntley, if they give him a week, they game plan for him, I think that he'll be more successful than what people think.
Yeah.
I really do. He needs to get some consistency. I mean, I know that you liked my tweet about it, but Villanueva, he's killing me, man. He is absolutely killing me. I mean, Ben Powers is pulling and chipping to his side every freaking snap, and he's still getting beat.
Yeah.
He's slow. He doesn't recover. He doesn't have good footwork. And I'm just like, this is why the Steelers were done.
Yeah.
This is exactly what it was.
And it's,
they've got to make a change.
We had him on the team for years, and I loved him, and I felt like he was always an amazing guy, brought a lot of great energy. He's just a fantastic human as well. But, I feel like at that position too, when you lose your speed,
if you're not athletic, you cannot play that position. No. That's the way it is. And honestly, he wouldn't be bad going man to man on the right side. I wouldn't mind putting him at right guard. Right tackle kind of makes me nervous, but
send some text messages, Maddie. Get it going.
Listen, if I had that kind of pool, I'd already be in there. I'm already a little grouped out trying to figure out.
You're like, who could I text?
I'm already a little grouped out just saying like, hey, what's going on with Lamar? I need to know if I need to make some moves in the fantasy world.
I need to know if I need to make some moves. I have some players' phone numbers on my phone that I'm literally never going to text because one, I've never had the face-to-face to be like, by the way, I have your phone number. I got their phone numbers through other channels, and I'm just like, that's the creepiest thing ever. If I'm like, hey, how you feeling? How's that ankle? Like, that would be the creepiest thing ever. Like,
I don't know. I have this rule. If they ask me for my Snapchat, that gives me full open door policy to be able to ask you about fantasy advice.
Yes,
if
I agree with that.
Like you have the balls to ask for my Snapchat, I get to ask you who's starting and who's sitting in practice this week.
I think that's perfectly fair. I'm just saying that by ways that I've gotten these phone numbers, I look like the creepy stalker of like, how the hell did you get this number? Dang it,
You're a cute girl. Nobody cares. They get it all the time. They don't care.
Yeah, I'll just send a text message with my face like,
I was going to say, you got to send a pic though. Send a picture of your smile.
Yeah, it won't be cute though. It'll be dorky. It'll just be like, hey, can
send your clown mug.
Just thumbs up like, are you starting this week? And then just be like, no, stop it. Like, what are you even trying to do? Oh my god.
Do you think you could get a touchdown? Let me know.
Let me know. Hashtag rooting for you. No, I don't. Yeah. If that other thing would happen, then sure, I would go ahead and hit people up. I mean, I'll message other people that I know that in the fantasy community that are at ESPN if I'm really struggling on lineups, and I'll send messages out. But that's only if you have a relationship. Like by that relationship, I mean like I've had a conversation where you saw my face talking to your face. Like that's kind of the thing.
Yes, I think that's a good rule. That's a good rule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the lowest of bars. But let's talk about a couple other games. Obviously, Tom Brady doing amazing Tom Brady things, even rushing for a little touchdown. I'm sure he had to ice his knees after that, but he had 363 yards this week and 2 passing touchdowns. So you love that. I mean, do you really feel like, especially the way that the Patriots are playing as well, that we could see a Bucks Patriots Super Bowl? Could it happen?
I had this conversation this week, and it could happen. It could happen.
It could happen. I mean, how storybook?
Do you know how much money they will make off that game?
So much money. And it's in LA. God, the traffic's gonna be so terrible.
Oh. It makes me excited just to think about how much heart would be in that game.
Yeah. No, it would be such a crazy, intense, passionate game. It would be an amazing matchup. I just wonder if the Patriots can hold out long enough for that. They've got a great defense. Mac Jones is doing great things, but it feels like you need a bit more firepower to make it there. I don't know that they have that.
The only argument I have against that is if you watch, Belichick has implemented little tidbits here and there, but he hasn't given us everything. It's just been like little breadcrumbs, if that makes sense. A little bit here, a little tight end here, a little running back here, a little wide receiver here. And the way he's been doing that, I feel like he's keeping everything in the rotation so nobody knows what to game plan for, and they are able to perform at an above average level in every area. I think that's going to help them be successful in the playoffs. I really do.
Yeah. No, I mean,
they're protecting their players, especially in a longer season. I feel like they know what they're doing, and maybe it's just because I'm a huge Belichick fan.
I mean, I know never to discount Bill Belichick, the master Sith Lord that he is, and all knowingness of the Force, and crazy strategies. Like he's just like this whimsical creature that in cutoff sweater, like hoodie dealio. Like he is myth, man, the myth, the legend. But so I'll never discount him out. I'm just saying, I feel like there's a lot of teams that have it feels like a little bit more spark, more firepower. Maybe it's because there's no mystery behind it, so it's obvious. But I hear you. Danger, I just had to make sure you were still listening. That's why I threw the Star Wars reference in there.
I'm really sad. I almost grabbed my Star Wars cup to drink out of tonight, and I didn't.
What? Darn.
I know I should have done that.
Do I have a Starbucks mug? I don't think I have a Star Wars mug. I have a Pennywise mug, and I have a mug that's just got skulls all over it.
We've got to get you a Star Wars mug.
I need a Star Wars mug. I love my Star Wars.
Yeah.
But sorry?
Oh, no, I had never seen Star Wars until last year. And then I binged it during the
Wow, really, Danger? Don't say this about Madi. He's saying he's disappointed in you.
I binged them. Do you know how hard it is to binge watch Star Wars?
I do. And I say I know how hard it is because the last time one of the movies came out, I think the 9th one came out, I binged all of them, including Solo and Rogue One. I watched and I rewatched Mandalorian as well, all to build up to do it. It can be done in 2 weeks if you don't have a social life. It can be done in 1 week if you really don't pay much attention at work. Just for those.
The amount of dreams I had, it was probably it was insane. Like
a lot of Star Wars.
But no, you should give me some respect, Danger, because that was difficult. You're talking about somebody, I could watch film for like 4.5 hours, look up and just be like, oh, I haven't eaten today. I should probably take care of myself. But a Star Wars movie, that's a lot to process at one time.
Yeah. No, it's definitely.
And it's like an emotional roller coaster.
It is.
It's exhausting being that emotion. Having that much emotion. Much emotion. Man, words are hard. Mondays,
man. Mondays are rough. It's difficult, but let's get back to football. I could go on and on about Star Wars and all my nerddom, but we can talk about it
next.
Let's talk about Josh Allen, because he's finishing at the top this week, which is surprising. But when you have to be the running back for the team and you get 109 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown, plus your 2 throwing touchdowns and over 300 passing yards, you're going to have yourself a decent week, fantasy-wise. But should you need to put that much of the team on your back? I don't think so.
No, you shouldn't. But I'm hopeful that because Josh Allen came back, that they can revive themselves the rest of the season.
Yeah.
They needed a good performance out of him.
They did.
Even though it wasn't a win, it was a win for the Bills because they needed Josh Allen to get his confidence back. And this is against a good team, too. This was not an easy task.
No.
Not an easy week to come back.
Absolutely. This is definitely against a very tough team, and great to take the momentum of how they played in this one against Carolina next week. Then they revisit New England again, which is going to be brutal. But then they've got the Falcons and the Jets the last 2 weeks. So if they can pull out some more wins and maybe get the upset on New England, I mean, they're going to be in great shape for the playoffs.
And they have an offensive lineman coming back this week, which is phenomenal for them. They needed that. So things are looking up. I'm glad that Josh Allen had a good week.
No, me as well. I mean, as someone that has him in multiple leagues, I
Do
was
you have him in
very happy.
Dynasty?
I do not have him in Dynasty. That's the one type of format I don't have him. I have him in a lottery draft.
I don't know
It's not
anybody
fair.
who has him in Dynasty.
It's not fair. Why can't I have him? I just want nice things. Why can't I have nice things?
Why can't?
Why can't I have nice things? I mean, when you're looking at other players that performed brilliantly for the Bills, looking at Dawson Knox right there at the top, 7 for 9, 60 yards and a touchdown. I mean, and you're also comparing him against the other tight ends of the week. He definitely performed in the elite tier. And for the rest of the season and for the rest of the fantasy playoffs, Dawson Knox is someone that it's not going to be a question whether or not you're starting him. He's so consistent. For him.
And and Josh Allen looks for that.
Yeah, absolutely. He looks for that big target. He's just super consistent.
The thing with Dawson Knox is he's not just middle of the field tight end. And I feel like a lot of our tight ends, that's kind of their comfort zone with quarterbacks, is just that route right up the middle or right to the side.
Danger throwing this one in there. Dawson Knox is 2021's Robert Tonyan.
Somebody tweeted that. Was that you? Did Danger tweet that?
Maybe. I don't know. I haven't heard that
tweet
one.
Format. I kind of giggled to myself.
I like
somebody say that. Did Emmerich say that? Somebody said that. Somebody that I follow said that. I don't know who. Is anybody going to own up to it?
I can't take credit. Danger, if it was you, let us know in the comments. But no,
his fingers can't type that fast. Shade.
Let's talk about the top tight end of the week, though, and then we can talk about how my Steelers need to rebuild the entire team in the offseason. But George Kittle, absolutely just destroying what it means to be a tight end and just slaying the day. 13 of 15, 151 yards and a touchdown. Absolutely insane. If you have him and you had him in a playoff format the first week, crying out loud, were you grateful? Because that is just a brilliant.
He put on a clinic. He's bringing,
absolutely.
What do they call it? Tight end university? Is that what they called it? Tight end U? Yeah. He's bringing tight end U to the game. I mean, Emmerich quoting me to make fun of me being the only one saying that. Okay. I knew it was somebody.
Yeah. It was a tweet within a tweet. This was an Inception tweet. But I'm glad we wrapped that up. No, I mean.
That's on Monday. I can't process that on a Monday.
Right. I can't either. But so that's 2 weeks in a row of George Kittle being absolutely phenomenal. They've got the Falcons next week. Do they need him to be that phenomenal again against the Falcons, though? Like, does he taper off a little bit more just because the Niners don't need to absolutely destroy the Falcons? I don't feel like they're going to put up that much of a fight. I mean, maybe they do. Who knows?
I don't think they're going to put up that much of a fight, but I also don't feel like it's in the 49ers blood not to just go for it. And they need to keep up momentum.
They do.
Especially with Jimmy G.
They do need to keep up the momentum. And then, hopefully maybe Cordell Patterson will just run all over the Niners and for some reason make it a close game and then force George Kittle to have a couple, amazing red zone looks and bring you some amazing fantasy goodness.
Maybe so. Maybe so.
I don't know that Patterson can do that, but he is their only offensive weapon there.
Their only consistent offensive weapon.
I mean, what happened to Kyle Pitts?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Sort of like a recap show of like pouring ones out for, players we were high on in the preseason that just did not pan out.
Everybody always does that. They go super high on this rookie unicorn. And then they're disappointed when he plays like a rookie. Like, give him a year before you start trashing him.
I know. And I mean, even for tight ends as well, though he is very, very talented, almost all tight ends need at least a couple years to cook a little bit longer before they're really ready. Like
100%. And also he's got to bulk up a little bit. He's got to learn how to play a little more physical. He can't just rest on those beautiful hands of his, Yes, you're a mismatch, but you got to learn how to use your body. Yeah. It's like this 7-foot guy that they bring in to play post in basketball. And he's like getting tossed around like a rag doll because he's not physical. That's what I feel like Kyle Pitts is. Learn how to use your body.
Like a little baby giraffe.
He is. But he's a rookie. It's gonna come around. It's gonna come around.
It'll happen.
It'll
You
happen.
just gotta get your feet wet and throw in a couple extra LBs. You'll be fine.
At this point, I'm like, run him as a receiver. If he's gonna play like that, just let him go be a mismatch on the outside.
Yeah, there you go.
Get him out.
I feel like that's how he found success in those couple weeks that he
did
relevant, and that was because he was on the outside as well. So, but I don't know that the Falcons know how to use everything right now when they're kind of treading water anyways.
That's true.
So,
and losing one of your biggest leaders, that's tough. And I don't think he's coming back this season.
No, I mean, hopefully Calvin Ridley is getting everything he needs to get right.
Talk like people know what we're talking about.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, I feel like people should. I feel like if people are tuning into this show, they should know what's going on in news media that in regards to football. But no, I hope that Calvin Ridley is getting all the help he needs right now in this offseason just to take care of his home base, because it's far more important than our fantasy output for this season. That literally not even a blip on any radar. Like, absolutely, hopefully he's taking care of himself. It sounds like the Falcons organization is doing everything they can as well to be supportive for him, which
I love.
You gotta love. I mean, in a day and age when everyone's talking about mental health and mental health issues, the more that people are just showing that support and that his team is supportive and behind him, I mean, you need it. You absolutely need it.
Absolutely. But they also need some love on their team. So hopefully they get it turned around. But I don't think it's this next week.
No, I don't think it is either. Any other teams, players you want to talk about before I wrap it up on my Steelers really quick?
Let's get into the Steelers.
Let's just do it. I mean, okay. First of all, obviously, that game was ridiculous. And if you're wondering how emotional I was, it was just the first half. I was like, cool. So Thursday night game wasn't much of a show. I think I'm going to go work out. And then I went and I did a workout. And then third quarter, still nothing. I had it on, but muted. And I was like, I'm just getting my workout done. And then I finished my workout. I'm like, all right, we're going to eat healthy. And like, at least we got my workout in. So even if my team couldn't show up, I showed up for me. So yay. And then I look at the TV and I'm like, oh, I think we just scored a touchdown. And then I kind of did one of these half-assed, like, woo. And I was like, we have still so much to go. And then I looked back again. I was like, wait a minute. We scored again? And then I was like, should I be sitting down for this? And yes, I had to sit my butt down and just like get dialed in. Sorry, I'm killing you.
I can't even swallow correctly on a Monday night.
It was such a crazy fourth quarter. I could not put it together. And then the fact that we could have brought it back in those last couple seconds, but then we had Chase Claypool go and try and just do a one-man show for everyone was just so disappointing.
Do you think it would help if they just had one whole day where he just got all the attention he wanted? We just brought in a media team and he got to be a reality TV star for a day. They paid fans to come like ask for his autograph, gave him the attention because obviously he's looking for it. Maybe he would be able to focus on the football.
No, I think what would better serve him would be a reality check and having to go and write, I will not do celebration dances on a chalkboard, but like one of those huge Ivy League chalkboards that's giant that has extra chalkboards that you just keep rolling up. And I think he just has to keep writing that until
some Rick and Morty stuff.
Yeah, no, like literally just like that Simpsons intro where you just see Bart writing over and over again, but it's just Chase Claypool saying like, I will not do celebration catches. Like, I just stop the celebrating. Like, don't celebrate until you win. Like, you guys haven't earned the right to start celebrating like you're this playoff caliber Super Bowl like headed team. You haven't earned that. And you're too young and too inexperienced to have earned that type of celebration. Like, who do you think you are? You're absolutely no one to like. Chase Claypool is an amazing talent. I will say that. I have him in multiple dynasty teams. I think he's very talented. However, you cannot show this level of immaturity to a team that's legacy is not this shenaniganness. It is a legacy of like, we get stuff done here and we're straight faced. So stop acting a fool and let's get back and do our job.
Maybe they should bring in some of the like has-been guys, some of the all-time greats.
Oh yeah.
Because the Steelers' grades are like scary to mess with. Maybe they should bring them in and just run a
Absolutely.
practice just one day.
Oh, I would love that. Are you kidding me? That
Can
would
you
be
imagine
fantastic.
Troy out there with his beautiful hair just going off on Claypool?
Yes, just lovely Troy. Just like going from his like, I love Troy for his like sweet demeanor, but then like when he gets his like beast mode face on, it's just like a different shift. It's just completely different.
Whole different person.
I love it. No, maybe that would help. Just like, do you even know who you are? Do you know who you are to be here in this presence of this team with the legacy with all of us? You're trying to count yourselves among us. Have you won a Super Bowl yet? No. How about you sit down, little pup, and we'll figure this out so you can get what you need to do. Like, come on.
There you go, Steelers. We've got a game plan.
Just get me in there. I'll
Yeah.
just go. I'll start. I'll be in charge of discipline. We'll get it done.
I would
guys.
love to see you go toes with Claypool. I think it'd be very interesting.
It'd be quite a height difference, but still, I think I'd be able to. I've been known to make people cry.
On you. My money's on you. What about the Vikings though? Because my goodness, that's how I feel.
Disappointing for them to like finally
That
have
was
a game.
Disgusting show out by them.
Yeah, like way to just like. First of all, I was like, wow, they really are doing an amazing job of just shutting us down completely. Defensively, first half, I was so impressed. I was like, the Vikings
They can't play more than a half, though. It's
No.
either the first half or that's the second half. They
It was
can't
like they
play two
forgot.
halves.
I couldn't understand it. And like when they were lining up and we were beating them in that fourth quarter on these certain plays. And I'm like, we just saw you beat us 2 quarters ago doing this exact same play. What happened? I just couldn't understand. It's like, what?
I took a tiny break in the middle of the third quarter and I was like, who got hurt? Like, what happened?
Yeah.
Who's out?
No one.
No one.
No one.
It's so sad. It really is. That has to be so disheartening.
Yeah, I don't understand that. I mean, obviously Dalvin Cook had an insane game, 205 yards when he has 1.5 shoulders right now. So
1.5 shoulders, really.
Like literally though, like just that did you see the contraption that was holding him together?
Yeah.
And I've seen multiple players have that type of a thing when they're dealing with that type of injury. But clearly he's a beast that can deal with it without that anyways. And so 205 yards of just massive rushing success. And he was fine. But clearly they need more than just him to finish the game out. They need the defense to remember to continue playing football.
And that's the thing is because really there was no issues. Pittsburgh wasn't doing anything crazy. They just stopped playing. They stopped performing.
Yeah. I don't fully understand it. But I could see that being a tough one for Vikings fans. I can only imagine how many ups and downs they've had this season. It's as many as we've had. But I mean, just way to not finish out a game. Just absolutely brutal.
Who do they play next week?
Who do the Vikings
play?
Chicago. They're at Chicago.
Oh.
What do you think of that one?
I mean, they should win, but at this point, I'm not locking them in.
Yeah, no, absolutely brutal. But I mean, what we do know for fantasy purposes going forward, Dalvin Cook is fine.
Cook, he's your guy.
He's your guy. If you had to worry about him, hopefully you did end up starting him. I know a lot of people were still questionable, like, oh, he just got active. Should I still be starting him? Hopefully you're not kicking yourself for having benched him. Hopefully you did start him. And as a result of that, you're moving on in your playoffs. And you're going to have Dalvin Cook, a healthy enough Dalvin Cook to help you down the end. So that's fantastic for that.
Yeah, fingers crossed. We have a lot of good games coming up next week.
We do.
A lot of good opportunity for these fantasy players to go off.
Do you have a favorite matchup before we head out?
I actually have a few. I'm really excited about Chiefs Chargers.
Yeah,
I think that's going to be a great game,
one's
especially
at
for
SoFi,
me.
Isn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
Should I try and go?
Absolutely. It's going to be a good game. And I like to watch things from the trenches. I think that's going to be a phenomenal little play out because both teams are kind of dominating in the trenches.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Points.
If I can try and sneak my way into SoFi Stadium to go to that game, I will, because that'll be a fun one. That should be a really fun, definitely betting the over type of Thursday night football matchup.
I'm also excited about Patriots Colts.
that would be also a very good one. Two very good defenses that are going to grind it out.
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan Taylor going to have to do some magic to be effective, although I'm not going to put it past him to not have an amazing game.
He should have an amazing game. They had bye last week, so I feel bad for all the Jonathan Taylor owners. I was one of them. I was like,
I miss you.
Yeah, please come back. Playing Drake's I Miss You Too on repeat.
I was just thinking of the gif of Joey from Friends looking out the fake window of rain, just like sad.
Yeah, that was neat. That was me.
Those missing their Jonathan Taylor. Yeah, that'll be a good game as well. Lots of really good matchups next week. I mean, Steelers playing the Titans, who, I mean, the Titans have been up and down and a little bit more up. They've got Julio back, so that's fantastic for them. Who knows what kind of matchup that's going to turn into?
Who knows? I'm trying to think who else. Saints and Bucks play again. That Brady's going to want a revenge game there.
Oh, for sure.
I don't know. To be honest with you, my Ravens play the Packers. I'm not excited about it because I'm not an Aaron Rodgers fan, and I have to sit and just watch him and his weird head. Doesn't his helmet look weird on his head? It just does. It doesn't fit him. I don't know.
Aaron and his weird head. I have to watch his weird head.
I went on a date with a guy, and he just I think that he caught on to me not being an Aaron Rodgers fan, and he was just like Aaron Rodgers MVP the whole time. And I was like, dude, you're cute. Please stop. Stop talking about it. Because all I could picture was Aaron Rodgers and his nasty hair. Ugh. I own you. That weird face and his helmet bobbing back in the picture where he's on the ground. I can't. Okay. I digress. It's Monday.
Yeah, I digress. It's Monday. That's going to be the tagline for this week's episode.
I digress. It's Monday.
I digress. It's Monday. We've gone on many tangents today, but hopefully you guys have had some fun. Make sure that you're following Madi at Madi Kroll on Twitter. And Madi, do you have anything else fun coming out this week that people can look forward to?
We do. We have some very exciting news. I have some very exciting news that's coming out on Wednesday. So make sure you catch the It's a Vibe podcast. We're actually, everybody on 32-Bit's going to be there. So Michael Florio, Marcus Grant, they're all popping in to do our show. It's going to be a good time. And then, of course, I get to hang out with Doc on Wednesday. I actually have a really, really busy week this week between my volunteer stuff and then fantasy football stuff. And I'm excited because some people were calling me out about not giving my DFS picks for the week. So I'm coming at you guys hard this week with that. So keep up with me on Twitter. And I'm excited. I know that you always have to do this and then go write your article, but I'm excited to read your article because I'm excited to see what you think on a couple different players next week and if they make your article.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, hey, send me a text because I had some running notes, but I'll be up till probably 1 again writing it tonight. So I'll be up. Definitely feel free to text me. Yeah, guys, check out my Stockwatch article coming out tomorrow on Dr. Roto. It's free for those that have been testing the waters on Dr. Roto, but there is so much amazing other content there. So please check it out. And then I'll be recording the fantasy debate with my co-host Derek Tate. That'll be dropping on Thursday as well. What else do I have? I have another thing. I'm always doing 10. I'm always doing 10 different things. Oh,
follow
me on Twitter.
Follow her on Twitter
at Samantha R. Holt, so you don't miss out on anything because there's always something fun going on. I've been doing Thirsty Thursdays with Troy King, who writes for Yahoo Sports and a couple other fun places, and he's been really fun as well. So definitely check that out. We'll go on Thursday. We do it's 10-minute halftime show, so that'll be a lot of fun. But hey, if I end up going to the SoFi game, maybe you'll end up missing me on Thirsty Thursdays. So.
Which I hope you do. I'm rooting for that.
It would be a lot of fun. But thanks everyone for tuning in and listening to the Look Back podcast with Sam and Madi. Check out all the other content, seasonal and DFS tools, as well as premium access to our staff for all your fantasy sports questions in the members only Discord right here at drroto.com. Have a wonderful Monday, everyone.
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by subscribing to the channel and checking out drroto.com. And until the next visit, be well and take care.